Okay, so let's talk about the ending of I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025, the latest film in the franchise that I think we could definitely see this franchise branch off into certain things. It had an amazing opening, well, a Thursday preview of 2 million plus at the box office, already off to a great start. Off of that budget, that was $18 million. If we see this movie at least get to 40, 50, I think that is pretty much what we're seeing, like a call that, yes, we are getting a new film. So this movie is in the same continuity as the original, with the Southport Massacre of 1997 that happened in I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997. This film is now following in the footsteps of Scream and is a legacy sequel. We see the characters of Julie and Ray, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., arrive here with some newcomers like Danica, Ava, Milo, Teddy, and Stevie, played by Madelyn, Cline, Chase Three Wonders, Jonah, Hauer-King, Tyriq, Withers, Sarah, Pidgeon. And this is a movie that kind of centers around the same premise as the original. 5 friends inadvertently killing a pedestrian in a car accident. They cover up their involvement to avoid consequences. A year later, their consequences come back to haunt them as a stalker starts to send taunting messages about the crime. They realize that the stalker is imitating the serial killer from the 1997 Southport Massacre. Now they go to find help from Julie and Ray, and eventually we see that things are not what they seem. So in this film, we have these 5 young adults who are being, of course, like I said, chased. Now in this film, this takes place on July 4th, just as the original did, and we see that the friends are there to sort of celebrate 2 of their friends getting engaged, which are the characters here of Danica and also of Teddy. Ava and Milo seem to have a thing of sorts, and Stevie is an outlier at the beginning because she's not really with the friend group right now. She is working the party actually that they are celebrating at, but they spot her and decide to bring her in. They feel a sort of sense of guilt because they weren't really there for her during high school and after, when her father started to sort of have some moments, and she also feels ostracized by the group because they sort of just abandoned her and went off to do their own things. She feels this is going to be a good moment for them to get back together. They're going to go see the fireworks, they're going to go driving, and yeah, this is when the whole horrific incident happens, when Teddy is in the middle of the road and a driver swerves off and falls down a cliff, ultimately dying. They decide not to go help him. Well, they don't really decide unanimously. Some of them think they're going to go to the police station and sort of give their case, and others are just like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So eventually we see that Danica and Teddy decide, we're not going to do this. We're not going to go to the police station. We're going to have Teddy's father, who is a wealthy real estate agent in Southport named Grant, cover this all up because this is bad for business for Southport, and this is going to be bad for us. They're going to blame us. We don't want to deal with this, right? A whole year later passes. Ava comes back after she left Southport, and now she's pretty much like, yeah, I think we're ready to move past this. We're gonna go to Danica's engagement party. Yes, she's having another engagement party because her and Teddy ended up splitting up because Teddy just couldn't handle everything that came with the incident that night. Now Danica is with a new guy named Wyatt, and it seems that everything's gonna be okay now. Well, not exactly. We start to see that they start getting the messages, I know what you did last summer, and they start getting picked off one by one. Well, the first one to go is actually gonna be Danica's new fiance, Wyatt. Then we have Tyler Trevino, played by Gabbriette Bechtel, who is a podcaster that is obsessed with the 1997 Southport Massacre that Ava gets a little close to right at the beginning of the film, and eventually is one of the people that they suspect could be the murderer because she wants to recreate her new crime here and use it for her podcast. Quickly find out that is not the case, as she pretty much gets killed right after. We eventually now have the friends trying to scramble for answers, and they realize that some people have gone through this before, with a mad person in a fisherman's slicker with a hook killing off their friends. Of course, that's Ray and Julie from the first movie. They go to find Julie, who is now a professor, and she doesn't want to go back to Southport. She says all they have to do is just confront this head on and get the killer before they get them. Ray owns a bar now, and we have Stevie working for Ray, and when she goes for help from him, he decides to tell them, you know what? You just got to be careful out there. You got to get as far away as possible as you can. Get away from Southport. But some of them decide, you know what, we have to take on this killer head on. That's when the bodies start to pile up yet again, because the next one to go is going to be Milo. Then we have Teddy get killed in one of the most funniest standoffs we've seen in recent memory. I'm telling you, Teddy in this movie was great. I talk about him in my review. Really love Tyriq Withers, and I just saw the trailer for him last night during Eddington. I'm so ready for that movie. But Teddy then is eventually killed, as well as Grant Spencer, the wealthy real estate developer developer. Up until this point, the new suspect was actually going to be Pastor Judah. They find out that Pastor Judah knew Sam Cooper, who is the person that actually died during that night, and he was actually part of like his church and all of this. So they decide that it's probably Pastor Judah who is the one behind all of this, getting revenge for the death of Sam Cooper. But we see that they have no other choice at this point now than to flee in one of Teddy's dad's boats. And so we have Danica, Ava, and Stevie fleeing in the yacht, and Ray says, get away from here, we're gonna figure this all out. Now, however, what happens here is we realize that, yeah, it might not just be Pastor Judah, because then we quickly cut to Pastor Judah being killed. This is when things start to click once the boat stops, and Danica and Ava are now being targeted by Stevie, who is in fact the killer and the fisherman here. While Danica is being cornered by Stevie, we see Ava trying to go for help. Ray eventually shows up and he's able to take down Stevie, but Danica in the process goes overboard after Stevie attacks her, seemingly dying, I guess you could say. We then have Ava calling up Julie and telling her, hey, it's solved, Stevie was the killer, but I just don't understand how she was able to do some of these things, because we do go back and think about it, Stevie was present during some of the times the fisherman was there, so there's obviously an accomplice, and at this point in time we're just like, it's Ray. It was Ray, right? Something that Julie talks about during the film at the beginning is that trauma can shape you and change you, and you can either come out of it or it can make you be even worse. And Ray is that person. So we see Julie rush over to try and save Ava, but we realize that Ava might just be in bigger trouble once she sees the scar on Ray. And she remembers that's the scar she gave the fisherman. She decides to leave, but she's locked in the bar now, and Ray is about to kill her. He's pretty much saying that he found out what they did, and the reason that Stevie did this in the first place is because Sam was very important to her. Stevie was recovering from addiction, and she found a sort of home in Pastor Judah's church, and she was able to sort of come to terms with everything that happened in her life and the addiction she was on, thanks to Sam, who was also part of the church. So Sam was a big deal for Stevie, and when she found out that the person they killed was actually Sam and that they were just like whatever about it, this is what made her snap. She ultimately told Ray, and Ray used the playbook of the 1997 Southport Massacre to sort of make these moments again in order for Southport 2 to remember what happened then, because Ray is pissed about the fact that Grant and the rest of Southport have scrubbed everything of that massacre, don't want to talk about it, don't want to say anything more of it, and just continue forward with life like it never happened. And this is what makes Ray pissed, so he decides to use Stevie's hurt and anger that she's feeling about Sam for the same hurt and anger he feels as well, in order for Southport to sort of relive these moments once again and just have them suffer because he feels that they have been wronged. And now I talk about it, I really love that premise of it, but I just feel the movie didn't execute it as well as I'm saying it right now. I wish it would have done so, but I think the movie relies on other things it thinks are going to make people like it. That's a whole other conversation. But by the end, we see Julie make it in time to be able to distract Ray long enough for Ava to be able to kill him, and thus the Southport Massacre of 2025 has been defeated, or so we think. Danica washes up on shore. She is alive. Her and Ava go to have a sandwich at the beach, where Ava tells her, hey, Stevie's actually alive, so we're going to have to handle that at some point. The movie ends. Then we get a post-credit scene where we actually see Brandy return as Carla, and we see that we have Julie coming to her house telling her, hey, this isn't over. Somebody's coming for us. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer sequel is officially going to come now, I feel. And we're going to have Brandy as Carla reprising her role with Julie, who is played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, to try and finish the events of that movie. That's what we're doing here. I don't know what exactly this post-credit scene setting up, but Julie showed up like she was an Avenger or something, recruiting Carla, and Carla said like, let's do it. Let's get whoever's trying to get us right now. And it was goofy. I liked it. And I don't know the direction this series is going in. If they go in a more lighthearted direction, a more goofier direction, I feel like it could be good. But I think they have to find a direction. I'll still be okay if they go serious, but I think that was what I really didn't like about the movie. It had a lot of tonal whiplashes where it's serious and then it's goofy and you just don't know what to feel. Also, side note, Sarah Michelle Gellar does appear in this in a dream sequence as Helen Shivers. Really love that aspect of the film. But I thought it was good. I thought that this movie had a decent amount of moments that I think were great. I just think that the tones and everything were all over the place and just kind of didn't help the movie movie out as much as I think they thought it would. But overall, still good. Let me know what you think about the ending. So we're pretty much going to have Stevie come back, I guess, to try and kill Danica and Ava, and whoever's trying to kill also Carla and Julie. And could we have a team up of the four of them taking on Stevie and whoever the one that's trying to take out Carla and Julie as well? I don't know. That's a possibility there. A team up of sorts against two fishermen or whatever. But let me know what you think about it. That's the ending of the film. That's what happens. The killer did it because they actually knew the person they killed, and they wanted to get revenge on the people because they just felt so wrong by them for so many years, and that was just like the cherry on top. The last person that actually cared and helped them got killed because of them, and they didn't help them out at all. Maybe they could have lived, they said. And Ray was helping Stevie to do all of this because he had been taking care of Stevie, and also he just felt that people needed to remember what happened to him and his friends, and he didn't like the fact that the town was trying to move away from it and forget about it. He decided to help Stevie get her revenge, but also bring back the 1997 Southport Massacre to the forefront. That's the reason they did it, and that's that. Now in the post-credit scene, like I said, we get Carla returning, played by Brandy, and Julie, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, goes to recruiter of sorts because they are coming back for the two of them. Somebody's after them. We don't know why. Probably from the events of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So another sequel where we have a all-girl team up of Danica, Ava, Carla, and Julie. Possibly. We'll see what happens. Let's see how much money this movie makes if they do green light another film. But as always, that's going to do it for me. Check out my review on the film if you want to. Check out my thoughts on the film Eddington as well, which are posted on our website. I'll also have a review for Sorry Baby in Eddington later tonight. So stay tuned, and I'll see all of you next time on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. Stay safe, stay positive.